So we do need to get started here because we're already running late. Uh, we let a politician do the opening talk, and you know how that works. Politicians and pulpits. Anyway, I would take the opportunity to introduce Preston. Uh, I'll tell you that I started working with him when he built his first restaurant and got financing from Zions. Remember that? Yeah, the School of Hard Knocks. But Preston Parker's a professor, so I should call him Dr. Parker, although my dad got really offended when I called him doctor. But I have an intro here, but basically he's a jack of a whole bunch of trades. But what you're going to talk about today is about economic development, right? And pivoting, staying flexible. There's other businesses have done it, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about your professorial roles and all the other things and that he's an expert at, and let him take over and start because we're already running late.
However, I don't typically hold a microphone on the different stages where I get to perform, including the university and actual stages. I have performed once or twice before on musical theater stages. All right, so the art of pivoting. This is Manhattan, downtown New York City, home of some of the tallest buildings in the world. In fact, there was a race in the 1930s. Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building, two of the tallest buildings in the world. From 1930 until 1974, New York City was the home of the tallest building, starting with those two. 1930, Chrysler Building, for 1 year, it was the tallest building in the world until the Empire State Building beat it in 1931. The Empire State Building was a plan, was a purpose, was a project undertaken by investors, investment groups. The reason being, this was an economic opportunity because now steel was very available and it was uniform. They could produce the steel beams off-site, glue them on-site, and piece them together very quickly. With 3,000 workers on site, they could build 4 stories a week, these steel structures. And the more floors you had, the more real estate you had, the more that you could lease it out, the more money you could make. There was a fortune to be made in skyscraper real estate in the early 20th century. Now the race is on, not necessarily for the tallest building in the world. That really wasn't the drive. It was an economic drive. And yet, the Chrysler Building released their schematics, and the Empire State Building released their schematics. And they both left out the spire on top of the building. So the Empire State Building is going up all the while. Just off screen here, the Chrysler Building is also going up. And as the Chrysler Building is getting near completion, about a year before the Empire State Building, they unveiled, and we have a spire that goes on top. And why was that important? Because the Empire State Building was built to just barely beat the Chrysler Building in height. It didn't really have plans for a spire. There wasn't going to be a spire. It didn't need a spire to be a little bit taller than the Chrysler Building. But then the Chrysler Building architects released their spire on top. And now the Empire State Building is no longer going to pass it up as the tallest building. And then the Empire State Building is nearing completion, and they go to the investors, the architects, because they need the feather in their cap. They need the tallest building in the world. So we got an idea. We're going to add a spire on top of the Empire State Building. Or why? Because we'll be the tallest building in the world. We'll beat the Chrysler Building. That's awesome. That's a publicity stunt and economically viable. That's what the investors want to know. How is it economically viable? How are we going to make any money off of that? Well, we'll have an observation deck. We'll charge people money to come to the tallest building in the world. People will come in and pay for stand on the tallest building in the world. What's interesting about that is you can't do that. And you can also stand on the neighboring building and look over at the tallest building in the world, which is just as interesting, quite frankly, and cheaper. So there had to be another reason. There's the Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building next to each other with a spire on top, right there, of the Empire State Building, just beating the spire on top of the Chrysler Building. The building was to stop right there, and then this big spire. So it was proposed. What's the reason we would need a spire on top of there? The flight of the day, the Zeppelins, airships. Be a mooring station for airships. We will build an infrastructure on the spire, an elevator, tie downs. We'll make it a strong, usable spire for airships. And this will be the docking location for the transatlantic transportation of the day. Who will come from all over Europe, and maybe from the Empire State Building to disembark. This is how economically we will make that spire viable. Now, this is not a real photograph. This is a doctored photograph of the day. Right? They basically put together two photographs and showed you what it could look like. They built the spire. They got the tallest building in the world. They went to dock. One time ever has an airship docked at the Empire State Building. There happened to be about 40-mile-an-hour wind, gale force winds, and they're trying to tie this thing down. They can hardly even get it tied down, let alone have people disembark or get on that thing. And the idea was tabled. Maybe we'll pick it back up. But we're going to have to work on some things. The structure is built, the purpose complete, the goal accomplished. And then, oh my goodness, we did not expect gale force winds to be a problem at this height. We just didn't know until we built the structure and discovered that. Oh yes, we need a little help with some further. This one's coming out of Germany. Why? Because Zeppelins came out of Germany. Like that was the heyday of the early 20th century. In fact, from 1917 to 1937, this was the projected way of crossing the Atlantic for the foreseeable future. Here's a little help from AI. So this is me creating AI images of what a airship docking at the Empire State Building might look like in the 1930s. I love that one. I mean, really? Really? We're just going to walk out on this plank between a floating mini airship and the spine of the Empire State Building. I mean, really? Stairs? I mean, no. This is so impractical. And this is today's AI creation of it. It was tabled. The idea was tabled. Maybe we'll come back to it until 1937. The Hindenburg left Frankfurt, Germany, and was landing in neighboring New Jersey. Coincidentally, from the Empire State Building, you could very clearly see the Hindenburg going down. Filled with hydrogen, a highly flammable fuel. They think static electricity started the fire, and it quickly engulfed as it was landing. People were jumping out, trying to save their lives, anything to escape this. And these are real images, by the way. And it was broadcast live over the radio. And this is where the phrase, "Oh, the humanity," comes from, because the radio broadcaster talking about the Hindenburg landing was watching people jump out and watching open flames, and the phrase that came to him, "Oh, humanity." It was over. There's no docking airships at the Empire State Building. There's no airships at all after this incident. This ended the era of airships. And it went to planes and ultimately the 767s crossing the Atlantic. No more airships. So now we have a spy built on the Empire State Building. What are we going to do with this that we have built? Yes, it's still the tallest building in the world, 1937. But what can we do with this now that our goal, our plan was completely and quite literally gone up in flames? Scrambled, brainstormed. Wait a second. We've got an elevator inside of that thing. We've got staircase inside of that. We've got places we can tie down and mount things to. NBC, it was actually RCA, but through the NBC station, said, we've got this new thing called television that we need somewhere that we can mount our transmitters. And the Empire State Building is so high up that it can get over the line of sight of the curvature of the Earth. So we can shoot our signal. We've got a 50,000 watt signal in there. We can shoot it really far and have a huge, huge testing bed of this new thing called television. Can we take your 85th floor, have NBC take over the 85th floor, and put transmitters all up and down that thing? We're like, wait, you're going to pay for the transmitters? Yes. You're going to pay for the maintenance? Well, yes. You've got a perfect place to maintain with the elevators and the stairs and all the tie downs and supports. This is perfect for what we need. Really? How much are you willing to pay for that? Well, ultimately, we'll put several different stations there, and we'll see what it grows into. It grew into 9 stations coming off of that. It was the test bed of television for the world, the top of the Empire State Building. And they were making then dollars, $600,000 a year in rights to put transmitters up and down that spire on the Empire State Building. Never was the intended use. They didn't think of television at the time. It was all about airships. Complete new goal and way more lucrative than the previous goal and the previous purpose that they had built. Now we're going to pivot this presentation to Morty's Cafe. This was the goal. This is Morty's Cafe, now called Morty's Cafe Logan. We have 5 locations. This is the original. 2013, I stood right about here, not where this fine gentleman is. I stood right about on the grass when a former student of mine made me a pitch and said, I know you know about business. I know you know about communication. You can make my vision happen. My vision is a 3-story building, apartments on the 2nd and 3rd floor, and a restaurant on the main level, patio out front, and 2 balcony floors. And he's got the schematics. He's showing them to me, and I'm listening to him for maybe like 10 minutes as he's giving me this pitch. At the time, tough to imagine, but at the time, there was a 100-year-old tree right here, and it was falling apart and just half dead. And an older home here that was dilapidated, and students had lived in for decades and kind of trashed the place. As he's making me this pitch, and I remember I turned to him and I said something like, just based on the location, Darwin Avenue and Aggie Boulevard, we are the closest restaurant to campus. At the time we were off campus. We're the closest restaurant to campus, and the traffic alone, this place could be successful. Like, all right, I will look into it. This was May of 2013. I hired 3 marketing students doing my interns for that summer to get their internship, and we did a full market analysis, which resulted in about a 60-page business plan. And by August of 2013, We knew what the menu items would look like, what the price points would be. We knew the name more or less. We knew the square footage. And I said, let's form a business. The reason this even became possible is because the city in this area had recently changed its zoning to mixed use, which meant we could build up on the property. And we maximized the square footage with a single stairwell and no elevator. We maximized the public use, the residential use, and the main level had to be commercial. And that's when my former student said, I don't want to do like office space. I want to do something interesting. Like, we've got this idea for a restaurant. I'm like, okay, well, that's a better use of commercial space in this area anyway. So let's do it. Let's go for it. August, we set up the LLC, August of 2013, and we were on our way. And well, there's construction of Morty's Cafe. Took 13 months from the time that we set up the LLC in August till we opened September 19th of 2014. And as anyone who has been on a construction project knows, if you're not on site watching things, paying attention along the way, stuff goes wrong. And I had almost zero experience when it came to construction sites. But I got to know the general contractor, I got to know the architects, I got to know the city officials, I got to stand up in a city council meeting and talk about this being the first building and how it's a model, the European model with the main level being a restaurant and patio space. And I got to talk with, at the public discussion and field Q&A on what we were doing in this space. And it actually was kind of fun for that year. I wish it would only have been 6 months, but it turned out to be a year. And I'm looking over the schematics one day and walking the site, and I literally walked these beams. I had to, because this is the best view of a restaurant, from a restaurant, of Cache Valley, in the entire valley. It still is today. In fact, today it's even better because they tore up Bowen Avenue this summer, and they took out all of these power lines. There's no power lines. It's an unobstructed view now of Cache Valley. So I couldn't help it, and I admit I took some risks and walked out here on these beams and took some pictures because I really wanted to be the first one to get those views recorded. And as this third floor balcony is getting built and they laid the floorboards, right about here was about 150, 200 square foot room. I'm like, what? This is balcony space. What are these framed in walls right here? The framing was there, but that was it. It was just the framing. And I look back at the drawings, and it says literally, future mechanical room. I'm like, what is a future mechanical room? This square footage is valuable for a patio, rather the balcony space. We want dining to happen here. We need seats. Future mechanical room. And I'm asking the general contractor, he's shrugging his shoulders. I ask the architect, he's shrugging his shoulders. I ask the engineer, shrugging his shoulders. I'm like, okay, we got to have a meeting. So I pulled the architect, the general contractor, the engineer, and it wasn't USU, it was the city fire marshal. Pulled them all together, and we stood inside of this freaking big room. And I said, and I've got the schematics. I said, all right, tell me what this room is right here. And they all kind of looked at each other. Not that they weren't knowledgeable, they were. This is just something that kind of slipped through the cracks. And the architect says, it's the way it's always been done. I'm like, wait, hold on. The way what's always been done? He said, you put a future mechanical room in for uses you don't know on a project like this. Like, so we're far enough along on this. Tell me what those uses might be. He said, that's the thing. We don't know the uses. We build the room so that we can use it later for other things. I said, and this is the way it's always been done. He said, on projects like this, yes. Like, here's my dilemma. I need the square footage here for patrons. I need the tables. and for the view. That's what I need. So can we put this room somewhere else? And especially if we don't even know what it's for? And he's like, well, I don't know. And he looks at the general contractor. The general contractor's like, hey, I just build whatever you draw up. And the engineer's like, hey, I run the calculations of whatever you draw up. And the fire marshal's like, I don't care about this future mechanical room. It isn't no reason for it in my perspective. So I'm like, all right, can we mix the future mechanical room? They're like, well, we're gonna have to because we had the room designed, we decided to put the furnace in the corner of the room. And the furnace go somewhere else. Like, well, I don't know. It's not. And it turned out there was a little space in the apartment just below, and we could build a little closet and put the furnace in there. And that afternoon, those walls came down, and we pivoted away from the way it's always been done, a way that was way more beneficial for us to have that square footage. Oh, our trademark journey. 2014, we have a name. We're Morty's. It was early 2014, March timeframe, when we were putting our funding together and getting our team together and hiring the general manager. And we hired 10 consultants. Why? Because my former student and I, we didn't have restaurant experience. We needed guidance. We had 10 consultants come in and guide us on how to do this restaurant. So this is during that time frame. We weren't even Morty's Cafe at that time. We were just Morty's, and we had t-shirts drawn up and they said Morty's on them, and we went to get the word mark. So this is, you pay the U.S. Patent and Trade Office and your own attorney several thousands of dollars so that you can secure the trademark. We wanted Morty's. We wanted to be the only Morty's. When you thought of Morty's, you thought of us and only us, especially in the restaurant/food business. And we applied for that, and our attorney said, no go. The USPTO council, they're saying that Morty's is not trademarkable. Why? Well, they're giving us several reasons. It's kind of a last name, but not really a last name. And if you trademark a last name, then the person who's alive has to agree to it. And they just turned us down because it's not unique and original enough. I'm like, Jack in the NBA has trademarked Jack. Kobe in the NBA has trademarked Kobe. What do you mean Morty's Cafe is not unique enough? Or not Morty's Cafe. Morty's is not unique enough. He's like, look, it's already been turned down. We can argue it. I said, argue it. He argued it. They turned it down again. It just was not unique enough. Plus, right at that time, we were wearing the t-shirts, and it was saying Morty's, and people thought it was a clothing brand. We had hats and t-shirts. They're like, oh, is that a new clothing brand you're starting? Like, something is not, we need to add something. We need to make it trademarkable and make it more clear that it's a food place. And it was one of those 3 o'clock in the morning moments, and all innovative thinkers, entrepreneurs, creative individuals know in the middle of the night when you're dreaming, you wake up sometimes and you've got this great idea. And my former student and I, we were racking our brains. What do we do with Morty's? Morty's Burgers, Morty's Diner, Morty's. Where do we go with this? And 3 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, Morty's Cafe. It just came to me. I'm like, Morty's Cafe, Morty's Cafe. Boy, it rolls off the tongue. It's short. It's easy to spell. I wonder if the domain name is available. Because Morty's.com was not available, but Morty's Cafe was. Bought it right then, middle of the night. Looked at all the social media handles. Yeah, Facebook, it's available. Instagram, it's available. Snapchat's available. Even LinkedIn, it was available. We didn't have TikTok back then, but went through they're all available. I just locked them all in. Bam, 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 bam. And I waited until, a more reasonable hour to call my business partner. And about 7 o'clock, I called him up. I said, I got it. Morty's Cafe. And he says, I don't like it. Like, what don't you like about it? It's perfect. He says, it's not a coffee shop. Like, you're right. It's not a coffee shop. And cafe can lead one to believe that it would be a coffee shop. The Spanish word cafe, coffee, and cafes often do serve coffee. Okay, I get that. He says, we're not serving coffee at our burger shop. It's like, okay, it's not that we can't or wouldn't. Like, you're right. That definitely is not the focus. But I thought for just a second, I'm like, well, wait a second. Right now, we're talking about Cache Valley. In Cache Valley, we have Cafe Rio, Cafe Tabor, Cafe Lingus, and Pizza Pie Cafe. Okay, nobody knows what a cafe is as far as a coffee shop in Cache Valley. Cafe means cafeteria. It's just somewhere that you eat. So I literally told him, I said, until you come up with something better, we're going with Morty's Cafe. Well, he never came up with anything better, so Morty's Cafe kind of stuck. We applied for the word mark, Morty's Cafe, word mark, so that we could see anytime you hear Morty's Cafe, see it in writing, it would mean us. And we got a different hang up. Flipping Morty's Delicatessen in San Francisco. And I took a visit there because I really wanted to see this place. I did some online research, and our attorney, he's like, sorry, you can't have Morty's Cafe because Cafe is too close to Deli and Deli Delicatessen, and this place has the trademark already of Morty's Deli. So you can't get Morty's Cafe. It's too close. You're kidding me. And I could not my mind around this particular place owning a trademark. It was not adding up. So I took a flight out, went to San Francisco, walked down the streets, not knowing this is the second highest per capita murder rate location in the nation. The highest is Anacostia near Washington, D.C. This is the second highest. He did not know that as I'm walking down the street, looking just like that, looking for Morty's Delicatessen, seeing homeless people all over. Saturday morning, it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. I took my walk and found this place. I was with my wife who took the picture, and right after this picture, there's a guy standing just over here in a security vest, big guy. He leans over. He says, "You guys don't belong here. You need to get out of here." Like, what's going on? He's like, "You go down the street, take 3 blocks, you'll be in Chinatown. You'll be fine. But you got to get out of here right now. You're being watched. You're marked. You need to go now." I'm like, okay. Got my picture. There's bars on all the doors and windows, and I thought, this place is not going to hold on to the trademark for very long. I could probably offer them $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to buy it, and I would own their trademark, and that gives me then the rights to own Morty's Cafe trademark along with it. Like, I'll stop and buy it from them. Give them 6 months because I don't think this place is going to stay in business very long. And it was about 6 months later that they went out of business, and I thought they're going to let their trademark lapse because trademarks have to be renewed every so often. You can have them forever. According to U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, you can have your trademark renewed forever. Unlike copyrights, U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8, they expire. Trademarks you can have forever because it's about the source of the product. Where is it coming from? The consumers of the United States of America and the world need to know where the product's coming from. So they did. I can't remember now. I think it was some 18 months after this picture that Morty's Delicatessen let their trademark expire. In that time, I wasn't willing to wait. So 2018, we at least trademarked the logo. We have a diamond logo, Morty's Cafe. It has to have cafe in it. If it's only Morty's, it was not trademarkable, even as a logo. With cafe, we got the circle R, we're registered trademark. We now are protected as far as a logo is concerned. Anytime you see that logo, it does mean us, and it's got Morty's Cafe in the name. So we secured that, and then just last month, Morty's Cafe word mark. Finally, after years of working on this, Morty's Deli let theirs expire, and as we're going after the word mark for 7 long years, and Morty's Cafe popped up in New Jersey in a casino, a teeny little diner place, and they trademarked Morty's Cafe out from underneath us. I'm like, no, 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 no. We've got prior use, 2013 in Congress. We are going to argue this baby. We argue that and we got it. We got it from under them, who shouldn't have got it in the first place. So they paid their money, we paid our money, we fought, they fought, and we got it because we had prior use. And we had filed all these things since 2014. So we have now Morty's Cafe Word Bar Family, at least in the restaurant industry or food industry. So anytime you hear Morty's Cafe, that is now us in the United States of America. Now, there is one in London now that we got to figure out how to do on an international stage. We're not quite there yet. We have 5 locations. We're not headed to England anytime soon. I don't think. I mean, maybe. Who knows? So we had to pivot so many times. Like, okay, let's go after Morty's. That didn't work. Let's go after Morty's Cafe Wordmark. That didn't work. Let's go after the logo. Okay, that did work. And then, oh, look at that. It's all about changing what your goal and your purpose was to make something come together. All right, thank you, Thursday. We recognized weakness. Thursdays were a horrible day for business. They just were dead for whatever reason. This location, and they were just dead. And so I sat down with the team, the general manager, the assistant manager, and I said, okay, what are we going to do about Thursdays? Sales are horrible on Thursdays. This is about a year into being open, so sometime 2015 timeframe. And we're brainstorming. I said, well, wait a second, hold on. Thursdays are traditionally taco places' worst days. So they do Taco Tuesdays because that's their worst days. They bring you in. Movie theaters do the same thing on Tuesdays. That's their $5 movies. It's Tuesdays, all day Tuesdays, because that's their slowest days. Our slowest day, for whatever reason, is Thursdays. So maybe something similar to like a Taco Tuesday? Well, what would that look like? I'm like, I don't know. What do you guys think? What would be a special we could do that's just easy and high demand? And they're like, well, we could do our iconic burger. That's our number one selling burger, and fries with it. What if we did the iconic burger and fries for a special all day Thursday? Like, sounds great. What's the price point on that? They told me the price point. Do we make any money at that price point? So yeah, we make about 20 cents. Like, it's more profit than we would make if we didn't sell anything. So let's do it. Let's knock that thing out. What are we going to call it? I don't know. What do you want to call it? I don't know. What do you want? And I'm into social media, so at the time I'm like, what if we did like hashtag Thank You Thursday? We're saying thank you to our customers, our clientele, people that want to come. And it's a way to have students who otherwise might think that we're overpriced for their budgets be able to come on Thursdays as well, and able to, in their minds, afford an awesome, higher quality than fast food, quick serve fast casual, not a gourmet burger, but we're filling that niche of quick serve fast casual. So Thank You Thursday. We have a hashtag, we call it that, and it's our special on Thursdays. It took 1 week. We got the word out. We had a line out the door. I didn't count, but it was at least 100 people out the door on a Thursday to get the Thank You Thursday special. It became, for at least 3 years, 3 years, it was our highest profit day, not our highest sales day. Our highest profit day was Thursdays, because we could sell 200 to 300 a day of just the Thank You Thursday special, let alone everything else. Good thing we had the balcony spaces and the patio spaces. We were packed. It became a cash cow. We pivoted a weakness into a strength. Problem with cash cows is they're awesome for a while, and then if you rely on those laurels, if you rest on those laurels, kind of subside over time. And the Thank You Thursday special has subsided. It's in the last 6 months that we've been brainstorming what's the next thing we can do. We'll keep the Thank You Thursday special. It's still awesome, still great. What's the next thing we can do? And it's always about what is that next thing, while still keeping the things that work. What's the next thing that will bring something in? Scone fries. We invented them. They didn't exist until Morty's Cafe invented scone fries. It's an opportunity. General manager comes in and he sets it out and says, I got this idea. I just sent him to a quick serve fast casual conference, and he came back and was excited with all these ideas. And he's like, I got this idea. I just want you to try it. And he puts scone fries in front of me with different dips, raspberry, cheesecake, honey butter, cinnamon and sugar. He's like, I call them scone fries. I want you to try them. I took one. I'm like, okay, so it's like a French fry, but it's a scone, and you dip it in different sauces. He's like, yes. Like, so I tried it. I said, put that on the menu. We will be known for these things. Is that my 2-minute warning? Okay, awesome. And we have been known for these. I mean, scone fries are off the charts, like popular. They have been ever since we instituted them. Official burger of Cache County. This one, no idea this one was coming. David Zook, who's recently retired as being the Cache County executive, at his state of the county address, he called me up in front of the room and he says, due to your 11 years of receiving best burger of Cache, of, or best burger in Cache Valley or Cache County, which we typically get every year for 11 straight years. Do the math. We've only been open 11 years. So Cache Valley Family Magazine winner this year of best burger in Cache Valley is a due to your 11 years involvement in the community and providing great food. I have a proclamation, signed, sealed, stamped. That Morty's Cafe is the official burger of Cache County. This is like the official bird, the official tree. It's codified. You can take this away. It's in the law. We are the official burger of Cache County. You think we're going to pivot into an opportunity there? Of course we are. This is David presenting me with that recognition. But yeah, what do you think is going to be on our advertising? Official burger of Cache County. Nobody else ever gets to say that. So that's now going to be our advertising. We switch our advertising. This is the crux right here. Why is pivoting so important? It's not just about the pivot. It's because 20% of American workforce right now, 20% was born between 1995 and 2011. They have a major hangup as a generation. Late millennials and Gen Zer. Major hangup, a major struggle is that they don't like to set goals. They don't like to work towards a purpose, not because they don't want to accomplish, but because they're scared of failing. At the university level, I've gotten to see this transition over the last 20 years, and it is huge, a huge transition. And I have to teach my students something very important, which is it's not about accomplishing the goal. It's about setting the goal, because that gives you a reason to do this. Take a step forward and maybe another step forward. And you know that the chances of you achieving that goal are very, very low. It's very rare to actually accomplish a goal you set out to do. It's very rare, exactly as you had envisioned it. You set the goal so that you can take the steps and have something to work toward. And as you're working toward that, negative things will pop up. And you don't look at them as obstacles or barriers to get in your way. You look at them as challenges to figure out and overcome and kind of pivot away from. And good and better opportunities will pop up from the outside, from the inside, and you pivot towards those opportunities. And when you get to that purpose or that goal, it's better than the one that you set out to accomplish. But you have to be willing to set the goal and take steps forward without knowing the exact path, because that's what allows you to get to the better goal. And if you don't accomplish that exact goal, it's okay. It's not a failure. It drove you to take action and to move forward. The art of pivoting truly is an art. There's no prescription for this path. You got to navigate, figure it out, bring in a network, ask questions, learn along the way. And hopefully, as you're building your Empire State Building and the radio stations and television stations and the Hindenburgs come along, you will be resilient enough to be able to pivot and accomplish a goal far better than you thought you were originally aiming for. Thank you. I imagine we have at least time for one question. I don't know how far we can push boundaries, but yes. Sure. The what? Or the funding. Oh, funding's always for entrepreneurs, it's always an interesting thing. Yeah, yeah. We did a Kickstarter. Yeah. So yeah, so my business partner, so I need to mention also that I bought him out in 2022, so he's no longer involved with Morty's Cafe. And in 2019, the university bought the building, so we are on campus now, literally on campus. But when it came to funding, originally it was just my business partner and I. It was our funding, our money that we put into it. Uh, it was projected to be several $100,000 to get it closed, and we weren't willing to put that type of money, that amount of money into a brand new restaurant, highest industry of fill rate. So we brought in a team of investors and those that wanted to tap into like SBA loans and various things. We brought a team in and presented the package and said, look, this is what it is. We think you can get your money back within 5 years. Actually, the projection was the value of the company would double in 5 years, and in distributions, you would get all of your original money back. And it took 4.5 years, 4.5 years for all investors to get their money back, and the company doubled in value. It actually 2.5 in value within 4.5 years. So the investment team was ecstatic. It was a home run, what do you call it? A unicorn in, business parlance. Uh, of success. So it was a group effort to get the funding together. Yeah, so there's 18 individuals, 3 different apartments, six. Yeah, 2 on the main level, 1 on the third level, or 2 on the second level, 1 on the third level. Yes. So there's students but now they're university because the university bought the building. So for the first 5 years, it was the investment teams, students, restaurant. But I could also see the university really wanted the building. So and we wanted the restaurant to stay there. So we signed a 20-year lease in August of 2019, and then the university bought it in December of 2019. It was subject to existing contracts. So they had to honor the 20-year lease contract that we had signed for a very low rate. They honored that, and they had to honor the fact that we were Coca-Cola, and at the time the university was Pepsi only campus. It was a 10.5 year agreement with Pepsi, so they had to accept the fact that we offered Coke and we'd be on campus. So they had to work that out with Pepsi at the time. But it was subject to existing contracts. So we had a contract with Coke for 12 years that had to stay in place. Now the university has switched since, and now they're a Coca-Cola only campus. So now we don't have the option of going to Pepsi now. So it's another pivot point we're gonna have to figure out is because we used to be the closest Coke to campus, and now we're not. So okay, got to pivot again on something. Yeah, interesting question. We good? All right. I'm happy to answer questions as well. Hang out or shoot me an email. Thank you.